October 18th, the school board meeting to order. This time, I'm going to ask us to stand for a moment of silence. During that time, I'd like you to remember the family of Gracie Bryant in your prayers. Gracie is a student, was a student at West Ridge, a freshman, passed away in an unfortunate fire incident. Sam, microphone's not working.
Can't hear you, brother.
Can you hear me now? We request that we stand in this moment for a moment of silence. But not only just a moment of silence, I'd like you to remember the family of Gracie McBride in your prayers. Gracie was a ninth grade student at West Ridge High School. She passed away, I believe, on October 4th in a fire in her home. It happened Saturday morning after the Friday night ball game fire at West Ridge. Please do remember her siblings. I think she has a brother and sister that are at West Ridge, and two of her siblings at, of course, Mr. Rafalski attended the funeral this past Sunday, and they do need our prayers. This time, would you please stand for the moment of silence.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting, especially like to welcome all of our county commissioners. We have several here tonight. I'm not going to attempt to name names, but welcome those of you who are here and others who are here to receive awards tonight, and also others who are here to speak on behalf of things that are of special interest to you. At this time, we'll go into the approval of the agenda. And remember, when you approve the agenda, you are approving the consent agenda. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So,
You can approve it, Mr. Allen.
so moved.
Motion from Mr. Iverson, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The agenda is approved along with the consent agenda. We do allow 2 opportunities for public comment on our agenda. We allow an opportunity now for the agenda items, and then later on in the meeting, we'll have another time for public comment for non-agenda items. So at this time, I think we have some signatures of people who've signed. We'll see how many of these names I can butcher tonight. First, we'll start with Levi Johnson. Just come to the podium if you would. Give us your name. I have your address and phone number here, so there's no need to publicize that. So here's a name and purpose of your comments.
I'm Levi Johnson, and I think that the Sullivan Heights swimming pool should stay open because I think the middle schoolers would be interested in doing a swim team if they had the opportunity, and if we had a second pool, the pool is central. Its chemical distribution isn't that good. There's chlorine all over the walls and floors, and like it gets on our hands when we touch the wall. We come off with a little white coating. So that doesn't really happen at South, I don't think. So if we could keep both pools open and get a swimming program started at both schools, that's not really what this is about, but I think that would come from it. The pool at Sullivan South, or Sullivan Heights, just is better and bigger, and it's something that Westridge could use, and if the middle schoolers use it, the high school team will be bigger.
Thanks, and we will be discussing that a little bit later on the agenda items. Thanks, Levi. Next, Andrew, is it Slap?
Slap.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm speaking as both president of Barracuda Swim Club of Northeast Tennessee and as a swim parent. And I'm speaking in favor of repairing and maintaining the Sullivan Heights pool. This area is lost and is continuing to lose pools even as the population is growing. In middle school swimming, that is a place where, and I've been watching my son, 6th grader practice, where a lot of kids are, some come experienced as swimmers, but others are learning how to swim. So this is even a basic safety issue. Almost 1,000 children a year dying in the United States because of drowning. And also, swimming traditionally in this area is a sport where there are not cuts. So it's a place where people, if they're inclined, can join an athletic team and gain the health and self-esteem benefits from that. I also said there's some other longer-term benefits from middle school swimming, being prepared to go into high school, but also on my daughter's high school team, I'd say about 2/3 of the swimmers by the time they're 16 are lifeguards. So it's a good job for teenagers in the area, and then they can also help protect other people swimming in the Kingsport Aquatic Center and other places in the area. And finally, it helps, even from middle school, will eventually help some swimmers get into college and even be able to afford college. Just this last year, there were several residents of Sullivan County who are now going to area colleges and universities, some on scholarships because of their swimming. And that base starts with middle school swimming. So I encourage you to help the residents of Sullivan County with that. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you, sir. Andrew Whitfield.
Good evening, board members. I am Abram Whitfield, and I'm here to speak about the Sullivan Heights swimming pool. Just as we all can see, the Sullivan Heights swimming pool is in need of repair, including how Sullivan Central Middle, as we heard earlier from the earlier speaker, Levi Johnson. Sorry.
Hey, what you're doing is tough. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's very difficult. People don't know till they stand there. You're doing great.
As we all know, the chlorine problem at Central is really bad. As an experienced swimmer there, I am always getting coated from the bottom of the pool all the way back to the wall. Central is a very good pool to have. I swam there for 4 years, well, 4 years now. But as of now, for the 4th year, Sullivan Heights is the more favorable option for a swimming pool to have. As I have been swimming there, I have realized this pool is much bigger and more spacious than Sullivan Central is. There's more seating, and there are 2 locker rooms that boys and girls can both use. Meanwhile, the boys' locker room, the showers are fine. We barely even use them. But as we can tell, Sullivan Heights is a little bit bigger and more spacious, as I said earlier. As Sullivan Central, we don't have a locker room to use. We don't even have a proper storage room to use. At Sullivan Heights, the coaches have their own office instead of having to use one little room. While at Sullivan Heights, we are able to have a diving board where we can start a diving team and all these other things. Like have a little bit more events going because there are a little bit more blocks, seeing how there are 8 there now. Sullivan Central only has 5. And I believe repairing Sullivan Heights swimming pool would be a better option. And that way we can have a backup pool in case Sullivan Central breaks down. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you.
You didn't mention that your sister swam at Central for several years also, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Avery Paget. Would you go ahead and add some?
Hello, my name is Avery Paget. I'm currently a sophomore at Westridge High School. I'm also a member of the high school swim team and the Barracuda Swim Club. I'm here today to further advocate for the repair and utilization of Sullivan Heights Middle School swimming pool. Last month, I brought up statistics regarding many of the health benefits of swimming. This included a decrease in the risk of early death, heart disease, stroke, and improved mental health. It also promotes swim safety and, helps prevent drownings. I additionally brought up a large amount of calories burned while swimming and the increased sleep quality as a result of swimming. Finally, I discussed the potential interest among Sullivan County Middle School students regarding the middle school swim team. Since the last board meeting, I've spoken with the coach of Johnson City schools about their middle and high school swim teams. From that discussion, I found out that Johnson City schools, Hopkins County schools, and Kingsport City schools all have middle school swim teams. Additionally, he said that he has roughly 40 kids on his middle school swim team and another 30 to 40 on his high school swim team for Johnson City schools. Our swimming season began on Monday, September 19th, although for the first week we did dryland only practice because Central Swimming Pool was free. I do appreciate the expedient repair on that pool. We got a part in very quickly and we got it fixed. However, it would have been nice to have Sullivan Heights to back up. This is also a pattern we saw a lot last year. Both pools were out of commission at different times throughout the year. Additionally, Sullivan Heights has a much nicer pool deck. It's a deeper pool. It also has locker rooms. And so the maintenance of the middle school swimming pools would allow to have a high school team practice more consistently. It would also allow easier access for middle schoolers to join a middle school swim team, which would act as a feeder program into our high school swim team. You could also have a swimming course with the physical education class, which is something neighboring counties and cities have done before, which would increase water safety and awareness among students. My dream would be for Westridge High School to have its own pool in the future, but for the time being, maintaining the pools that the county currently has is extremely important. I believe that Sullivan Heights Middle School could create great opportunities not only for our students but for our entire community. Additionally, it is my understanding that most board meetings fall on the first Thursdays of each month. Next month on November 10th, Thursday, November 17th, and Tuesday, November 22nd, the swim team has meets scheduled in the afternoon. If you believe the swimming pool will be an agenda item in the next board meetings, I ask that you would consider our swim meet dates when scheduling your meetings so that we could attend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Avery. Rodney? Rodney Paget.
Make me follow the professional.
That's why I put him before you, so he make you look good. So make him look good.
My name is Rodney Paget, 1125 Galton Shoals Road. Thank you for letting me speak. I know that you guys are mostly voting on the survey tonight, but I want to speak because I never know if I can make it here on Thursday nights because of my work schedule. So I want to go ahead and get my thoughts out there. And I hope that you bear with me and let me have a little extra time if I run over, but I'll try my best. My goal is obviously to convince you to repair Sullivan Heights pool and that it's a reasonable action. Not necessarily for the profitability of it, because school pools are generally not profitable without a whole lot of effort, but because of what it gives your student body and local community as far as in value, health-wise, an activity that's away from a computer screen, you know, a life skill that can be used lifelong. You don't have to have 10 or 5 or 21 extra people to go swim. You can do that throughout your life, throughout all ages. Some justifications I would make for the repair: 1, with no pool in sight for West Ridge, repairing Sullivan Heights would be a fraction of the cost of constructing a new pool. Number 2, Central Pool has disadvantages, as they've stated. It is older, it is more shallow, it has more echo, and has less space for audience on the deck. That being said, I'm not advocating for you getting rid of Central Pool either, so please don't take that. 3, maintaining both pools for the time being will allow middle school PE classes potentially to utilize those swimming pools as part of their PE curriculum. You could offer that in a way where students could sign up for that as a PE course rather than taking general PE. You could utilize that as part of the whole PE program for all students. It would require teachers to be certified and things like that, but it is a way that we could utilize these pools and justify the cost a little bit more. These classes could teach water safety, you know, basic swimming skills, water trading, that sort of thing. 4th, maintaining both pools could facilitate middle school swim programs at Central or Sullivan Heights. Or if you combine these schools, it could allow for a more reliable scheduling of high school and middle school swimming. In the last 36 hours, I've spoken with Coach Wallen in Hawkins County, Coach Love in Kingsport, Coach Brizard in Elizabethton, and Coach Carraggio in Johnson City. Some of those talks, if you'll bear with me, I'll go over with you. Hawkins County currently has no pool in their school system. They utilize Kingsport Aquatic Center. It is sometimes difficult to rent lanes because the Aquatic Center does seem to prioritize some of their clubs and their senior aerobics and things like that. So putting multiple schools in there might make it hard to do. They have 40 middle school students approximately, consolidated between their 3 middle schools. They also have 30 students in their 2 high schools. Coach Wallen stated that having a middle school team was, quote, a game changer for preparing his high school team because of the extra 2 years of development. Elizabethton, Coach Broussard indicated that just a few years ago, they were discussing getting rid of the pool at Elizabethton High School due to lack of utilization. She indicated that this is their 4th season in middle school. The first 2 seasons had about 10 kids each year. Last year they had 38 kids. This year they have 35. She also noted that this is improving her high school, and the high school team currently has 16. She stated she has started the Typhoon the Typhoon Summer League program that charges a monthly fee, and this has garnered involvement from younger kids. That money goes into a community involvement account. The swim lesson program grossed $27,000 in its first year and $17,000 last year. That $17,000 is a little short because part of the year last year they were doing deck repair that cost about $47,000. Of that money, the community involvement account paid $17,000, boosters paid $9,000, and the school system paid the remainder. She estimates that currently about 200 families utilize the pool in some manner through the 4 different programs that are available: high school, middle school swim lessons, and summer league. She said that she would be willing to speak to any of you regarding how that community has improved their swim interest. Kingsport utilizes DD's pool, which was last renovated in 2006, and has upcoming plans for renovation this coming summer, of around $1 million or so, from my understanding. Recently, they also had discussion on whether or not to put that investment in. They do utilize the Aquatic Center for larger meets. Coach Love indicated that he has between 30 and 50 kids in his middle school teams, combined with Ross and Robinson and Sevier, on a given year. The middle school season is relatively short, but they work 3 days a week during that time. The high school team has about 40 plus kids. They do utilize their pool for physical education classes within their school system, mostly 9th and 10th graders. And their PE teachers are I think they're lifeguard certified every 2 years. Johnson City, Avery mentioned some of those details, about 40 kids on the combined middle school teams, about 40 kids on the high school. They utilize Freedom Hall, which is part of Johnson City's Park and Rec. It is a 1974 age pool. And there is currently discussion going on in Johnson City on whether to revamp that pool, build a new pool, or,
Speed up.
sorry, I've got like 2 more paragraphs, I'm sorry. It isn't utilized for anything but swim and dive teams. They do not do PE classes and stuff. Carter County, and this is my last bit, but Carter County and Washington County do not offer swim programs. Unfortunately, TISCA does not allow schools to combine students from those schools into existing city school teams in fear of creating unfair super teams. Those students must swim under the banner of the school building in which they go, and they generally have to find a club coach or some other school coach who's willing to, be there for them at state meets or whatnot while they wear the banner on the school. Sullivan County has the ability to stand out as a system in the surrounding county system by maintaining and utilizing already existing pools while planning for future pool construction at West Ridge if those programs can flourish. If such a project ever became reality, it would best be a combined effort between the county and the school system as a service to the county public and the county school body rather than a profit-seeking entity. Such a partnership could help offset the cost to use by public for senior aerobics, swimming lessons, public lap swimming, and utilization by school swim program and PE classes. It's time to invest in our school system and the education of our students academically, but also in life skills. Swimming is a long-term skill that can enrich the life of students for decades to come. And one last thing, as for your survey, I did hear the work session. One thing I would ask you to add to the survey would be something along the lines, would parents have an interest in students either participating in swim as a PE class or as part of a full-out PE program? As starting such a thing at a middle school level, it's going to be easier for them to learn how to swim than when you get high school level. Because as we all know, as we age, fears get more, and we tend to take less stock in what we can do. And I think that more kids would learn at a younger age. Thank you.
Robbie, if you would provide me with a copy of your notes, if you want to type it up,
Absolutely. I'll type it up and send, I can send it to all of you.
Okay. That sounds good, thanks. Tracy Moore, Coach Moore.
My name is Tracy Moore, and I'm the swim coach at West Ridge High School. We currently have about 20 athletes on the West Ridge swim team, and there's a few more that are planning to join after soccer and band seasons end in a couple weeks. The athletes that I work with on the swim team are some of the best kids at West Ridge High School. They make good grades, they are leaders in our school, and they strive to be the best version of themselves daily. They are dedicated to their sport of swimming. I'm concerned about closing Sullivan Heights Pool and how that may impact our team. Last year, when Central's pool went out of operation, we moved to Sullivan Heights to continue our season. We had a swim camp scheduled over Christmas break. We ended up having to cancel that because the pool broke in the Sullivan Heights pool. So then we rented lanes at the Aquatic Center. The lanes at the Aquatic Center are rented by the hour. So we were allowed 2 lanes for 1 hour. We had trouble with our underclassmen being able to get to the Aquatic Center. So we worked out a system where they could get on a bus, and a bus would take them to the Aquatic Center. However, by the time the bus got them there and dropped them off, we only had about 15 minutes of our reserved lane time left. So I worry that if our central pool goes down again and South is not maintained, it's really going to impact our season because it's really hard to rent lanes at the Aquatic Center right now because of all their club sports swimming that they have. I'm also concerned about the lack of middle school swim teams in Sullivan County. The West Ridge team, along with East High School swim team, are considerably smaller in number than Kingsport City, Bristol City, and Johnson City High School swim teams. One reason that all of our area competitive teams have middle school feeder teams that feed into their high school teams. It's very difficult to compete with teams that have double the number of athletes that we have on our team. A few more things I would just like you to know and maybe consider before you make any permanent decisions. The pool at Sullivan Heights is bigger and nicer than the pool at Central. It has more deck space, more swimming lanes, and spectator seating for competitions. It has the locker rooms, as the others have mentioned. Central's pool does not have locker rooms in the pool area. It also has updated swimming equipment, including a diving board and an electronic timing system for meets. When it comes to brain development, studies have shown that physical activity, especially strenuous physical activity, is linked to both developmental milestones and better grades. For younger children through teenagers and beyond, the positive correlation between brain development and swimming keeps showing up. A study published in the Journal of Physical Activity and Health showed that over 89% of swimmers had overall better grades than their peers. One last thing that I would like for you to consider, our first and second swim meets of the season are scheduled for November 10th and November 17th at Tennessee High School. Please consider not making any permanent decisions on these nights, as all of our athletes will be competing in the sport they love and not able to attend a school board meeting. If you have any questions about swimming, our team, or our athletes, I encourage you to reach out to me and I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you for allowing me to speak and for everything you do for the students and teachers in Sullivan County.
Thank you. We do appreciate all the comments that have been made tonight. No decisions will be made tonight, to my knowledge. This is no recommendation for anything. We will be discussing several issues related to the Sullivan Heights swimming pool, surveys, et cetera, and we'll get to that later on the agenda item. At this time, the Director's Report, Communications Report.
Good evening and welcome to the October school board meeting. Very, very happy to see this many people here and encourage you to come to our monthly meetings. We're happy to see you, happy to listen to you, and have conversations. My first announcement is this is National Principals Month. So, students, please be sure and thank your principals this week while you're at school. Parents, teachers, acknowledge the commitment, the dedication that all of our principals have on a daily basis in our schools. We're very, very fortunate in Sullivan County to have the leaders that we have in our buildings. And I'm not only, I'm thrilled to call them a friend, as well as having them leaders in our school district and setting that example for everyone to follow every day. So I want to acknowledge our principals and say thank you to them. They don't get enough recognition for the great job that they do, and they deserve a pat on the back, a thank you, and a smile. Second thing is I want to say congratulations to our Westridge High School volleyball team, who is the first team in the school's history to qualify for the state tournament. They are currently in Murfreesboro competing for a state title. They are one of 8 final teams in the state in the AAA classification competing for that title. They did play earlier today. They were not successful, but this is a double elimination tournament, so they will play tomorrow as well. They were defeated by Brentwood High School, which has won 7 state championships since 2013. I am proud to say that they were very competitive with Brentwood, losing by the first set by only 3 points, the second set by 5 points. So very competitive, very proud of that team for being regional champions, winning the sectional at home last Thursday night, and now representing Westridge and Sullivan County Schools in Murfreesboro. A few reminders for the upcoming calendar. October 28th is a professional development day for all of our staff. So the lucky ones on that day are our students who do not have to attend school, but our staff will be all over the region, from Greenville to ETSU. We are hosting some meetings here in Sullivan County. There will be a lot going on that day. We're looking forward to that day and very thankful to the Niswonger Foundation for sponsoring and setting all this up for our staff. November the 8th is election day. Again, our students will not be in school, but our staff will be working. And then this time of year, we begin to get ready for the holiday time. And November 23rd through the 25th will be our Thanksgiving break. The next thing on our agenda is the recognition of our reward schools. We are thrilled and so fortunate in Sullivan County to have 5 reward schools this year. And I have to add, we would have had a 6th one, but our state has a rule that if you're a first-year school, you're not eligible to be a reward school. And that's pretty phenomenal to think that as a first year, as a school, that you qualify to be a reward school. So I am going to recognize our schools tonight and ask their principals to come forward. And I see that we do have some staff, some supporting staff here with our schools as well. When we talk about a reward school in Tennessee, it's important to note that if you are a reward school, you are in the top 5% of all schools in the state of Tennessee. That's not an easy accomplishment. And it's certainly something that we want to recognize and we want to celebrate in our school district. Last month we celebrated those schools in our school district that had a growth score level of 5, which is the highest you can achieve in the state, and we had 7. Our school district as a whole was a level 5. That is our first level 5, and I'm so proud of everyone in our school district, not only our staff, but our students. Our students have worked very, very hard for us, and we're thrilled. Coming out of 2 years with a pandemic when we were not in school every day, and last year was our first year back full-time, face-to-face, every day of the school year. Certainly a huge accomplishment for our school district and one that we want to celebrate. So as we talk about that, I would like to ask that the principal of our reward schools, as I call that school, come up, and I have a certificate for you. We still haven't received our banners from the state, but hopefully they will be here soon. And you can display that with all the pride that comes along with that accomplishment. So first, I'd like to invite Principal Mark Pendleton to come up. Mark is the principal of Indian Springs Elementary and had one of the highest reward status scores in the state. So congratulations to Indian Springs and the staff. Next, I'd like to recognize Dr. Jonathan Fields to come up and receive the certificate for Innovation Academy. And as I alluded to earlier about that new school that had the qualifying score, it was also Central Middle School. So congratulations to Dr. Fields. Our next recipient, Sullivan Gardens Elementary, Principal Bill Dunham. next two schools that we'll be recognizing are repeat schools. First of all, I'd like to invite Principal Alicia Dinsmore up from Rock Springs Elementary.
Tell that costume.
Congratulations. Our next recipient is 4 years in a row for a reward school. That's a huge accomplishment, not to take anything away from anybody else here, but I think everyone standing here realizes what an accomplishment it is to be a reward school 4 years in a row. So congratulations to Miller Perry Elementary and Principal Mike Wilson. Rick, I insist that you get up, come over here and take a picture of this group.
And it needs to be a front page story.
And then I insist that it be a color. Oh, come on, over here. Yeah, come on, I'll tell you what else I insist on. This group right here. They're most deserving, and I can't imagine that there would be a better story for the front page.
And I'll take up the whole page.
Then part of the jump page.
Thank you all very much, but before our principals, as they go back and sit down, I'd like to also recognize those staff that are here this evening from our reward schools. If you would, please stand. Thank you all so much. Thank you for being here, representing your school, supporting your principal. We're very lucky in Sullivan County. I couldn't be more proud of our school district. And I'll get emotional if I talk too much longer. But we have a great school district, and we have a great school district because of people sitting in this room who love our school district, who love our kids, and do this every day. So thank you all very much. Mr. Jones, that concludes my comments for the communications to the board from the director. Thank you.
Thank you. A lot of what we have has happened because of you, so it's thanks to you for the leadership that you have provided. Next on our list is unfinished business. First item is Colonial Heights property. As you all know, we've been talking about this for several months now, maybe a year. I can't remember, I've lost track of time. About selling Colonial Heights. We did have an internet auction for the Colonial Heights Middle School property. We had 2 bids, and obviously there was a high bid and a low bid. And at this time, Mr. Iverson has asked to make a motion concerning the bids that we received.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jones. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the final bid from Lakewood Fishing Academy at $2.3 million. They sent that to the county commission for action. We have a draft resolution. We'll need some county commissioners to take that forward for us, and there's some out there that might be able to help us. But my motion is we accept it.
You have heard the motion from Mr. Iverson to accept the high bid of $2.3 million from Lakewood Christian School, and that we send the resolution to the county commission for their acceptance of the Financial Management Act that was passed in 2020 it is required that that the county commission accept this before it becomes official. So we need a second on Mr. Iverson. Mr. Robinson makes the second on that. Any discussion? And I have given each of you a copy of that resolution that we have before you, what it was said in the county commission. And once we vote, we will, before the night's over, I hope secure some sponsors from either from 3 in the audience anyway, if not more. Maybe a second from here. This time for no discussion, roll call, Ms. King.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Iverson,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Rouse,
Yes.
Mr. Spivey.
Yes.
Congratulations to Lakeway. I know that we have several in the audience, and welcome to the county and maybe the city too, since that's located in the city. But, we look forward to completing this, and there will be in the draft proposal, there will be a deadline, I think, probably 60 days to make sure we complete this. Mr. Hull will work with you and whatever legal people we need to, once it's approved by the county commission, to come up with that. Our goal would be to close rather quickly on that, and I think there's probably a follow-up resolution now coming from Mr. Hughes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make the motion that we take that money and put it in a restricted account for capital improvements.
You've heard the motion from Mr. Hughes that we take the $2.3 million and we put it in a restricted account in our budget. Mr. Iverson seconds that. He beat you to it, Mr. Spivey. And this will allow us to budget, appropriate that money next year and complete some projects that need to be completed. So any discussion? We've had a motion, we've had a second on it. Any discussion? If not, roll call, Ms. King.
Mr. Iverson,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Rouse,
Yes.
Mr. Spivey.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Thank you. We're 7-0 2 times in a row here. Keep going. Sullivan Heights. No, take that back. Sullivan Heights School Survey, back to Mr. Alpasas.
We need to see Sullivan Gardens Park.
I did overlook Sullivan Gardens property.
And I-
Manuel Steffi is in the audience. He made a written proposal to the board concerning the use of Sullivan Gardens. And while he was in the process of meeting community members to develop that proposal, we took a look at some things, and Mr. Alpasas has a statement about Sullivan Gardens at this point.
And I did bring this up during our work session, and at this time, I am making a formal recommendation to the board that we remove the disposition of the Sullivan Gardens property off our agenda at this time. We currently have quite a bit of furniture stored in that building. As we have sold or getting ready to sell Colonial Huntsville, we have quite a bit of furniture in that building that we will need to be moving. We currently do not have a storage facility. We will be moving the items out of Colonial Heights into Sullivan Gardens at this time to make clearance for the new owners. So at this time, we need that property, we need that building for storage. Those that have been through that building have already had the opportunity to see how much we have in there currently, and we will just be adding to that. We look to possibly try to sell or transfer some of that furniture in the near future, but for the time being, we need that facility for storage. So at this time, I am recommending that Sullivan Gardens be maintained and kept by the school department as a storage facility.
Don't think that requires any action on our part since we've never declared it surplus, but Manuel, we will put your proposal in attachment to the minutes so that it'll be part of the official record should there ever be a time that we start to discuss again disposition of that property. But each board member has a copy of that, and I have the digital copy that I will keep. And should we come up with another proposal later on to do anything with that, we'll have that there so we can come back and give you a chance to talk about that.
Thanks, sir.
The next item on the agenda is item 6C, which is the Sullivan Heights Pool Survey. This board instructed me to come up with a survey as a result of some questions that came up during the September school board meeting. I have presented that survey to you during our work session. And at this time, I would recommend that that there be a motion entertained in regard to the survey. There was one suggestion during the work session, and that was that I include a parent's signature on the survey, and I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, at this point, I would entertain a motion as to whether to approve this survey or to modify it.
You've heard the recommendation of Mr. Alplasky that we accept motion to approve the survey. Once we get a motion and a second, we will put it out for discussion if there's any further discussions. So, I entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Dr. Rouse makes the motion to approve the survey. Do you have a
As
second?
amended.
As amended with parent signature, since that was your suggestion, right? Need a second? Second by Mr. Price. Motion been made and second that we approve the survey that was presented by Mr. Alkowski and amended by Dr. Rouse to put a parent signature on that page. I did hear a comment during the comments to the board about something about see if there was interest in having a swim class for phys ed. Is that something that you all want to consider to put on an additional survey?
I would, if I may make a comment there, I think that certainly, you know, we're open to always having swimming as part of the curriculum. That is not something that I feel like is even questionable. Our challenge has been and continues to be having personnel on the staff at any of our locations that are certified to teach and host students in the pool. We do have a certified instructor at East High School, and that pool is utilized during the daytime for swim lessons. We haven't been successful at our other locations in having certified personnel. We have made that offer to our current personnel to even provide them the opportunity to get certification. We haven't been successful, so my only concern with including that as a part of the survey would be if we put it on the survey, I don't want to have parents, I don't want to mislead parents that that's going to happen when we don't have personnel already in place. That's just a comment I wanted to make, certainly not anything that would, I would be against. I just wanted to state our current situation.
Right. Any further comments or discussion on that? I do know from past experience it's hard to find a certified instructor at even high school level. But if it goes out as it is, then should there be a certified instructor on staff, that would always have an opportunity to be offered as a class. So,
Absolutely.
with no further discussion, we'll go for roll call. Ms. King?
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Dr. Rouse?
Yes.
Mr. Sivey?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Iverson?
Yes.
West Ridge driveway. West Ridge access driveway. This has been a long time coming. This has been in discussion for many, many months. Planned for many months. But back on March the 4th of 2021, the county commission approved us using our fund balance for a price of up to $200,000 to design an access driveway from Henry R. Road up to West Ridge High School. close to the tennis court on the back side. With the stipulation that once we got the road designed and approved, the driveway designed and approved, that we would bring it back to this board with a cost estimate and then refer it to the county commission for their action. And tonight I am excited to tell you that we do have a design in place. Not totally finalized, but it's in place enough to where they were going to secure permits from the state, 2 permits. And we have a cost estimate for this project totaling, and this is not a bid, but it's a cost estimate totaling $2.2 million for that driveway. And at this time, I am making the motion that this request be sent to the county, asking their permission for us to use our fund balance to pay the bid price for the access driveway, and the bid price will be acceptable by this board and Chris Davis, the purchasing agent. That would allow us to transfer the money from our fund balance into our regular budget so we could pay the bid price. But the key there is the bid price. And I do know that we have some county commissioners, Mr. Vanover has said he will be happy to sponsor that resolution, and I'm hoping that the others in the audience will nod yes in acceptance of that. If I can get a second on my motion up here, that is. I'm making that motion, and Mr. Spivey seconds the motion. And I would ask that you give Mr. Rapkowski and me permission to write the resolution. I'm not good with resolutions, but we can put one together to send to the county commission, asking them to let us transfer that money. And it should be a fairly simple resolution, similar to the one that we have here on the Tornado Heights. With that said, any further discussion? If not, roll call, Ms. King.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Dr. Rouse?
Yes.
Mr. Spivey?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Iverson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes. Next on the agenda is, again, one of the hardest parts, director search. Oh gosh, and one last opportunity. Since she didn't take the last opportunity, we'll go into the process for the director search. Last board meeting, we did approve the procedure that we would use. We engaged TSBA to help us with the director search. They were to advertise and accept applications with a deadline of midnight on October the 14th. As of October the 14th, we had 13 applications. And those names will be made public at, not tonight, maybe shortly. But there's some things in the application that we have to redact before we can allow them to be public, but we'll try to get a list out real quickly, Rick, and Bristol too. But now we go into the process of how do we come up with the ones that we would like to interview. According to the steps that we outlined at the last meeting, and I found my notes, each board member will review the written applications. These applications will be available here in the room, and each board member will have a chance to go through and select up to 4 candidates that they would like to see interviewed. Up to 4. You will give your list of 4 or less to Mr. Hull, and we decided during the break, or during the work session rather, the deadline for the review will be November the 2nd at 12 noon. On Wednesday, 12 noon, November the 2nd. They go to Mr. Hull. You do not have to sign your ballot. You just simply, you can sign if you want to, but you give him the ballot with the names of those you want interviewed. He will compile the list. Anyone who receives 4 votes will be a candidate to be interviewed. And we will interview up to 4 people. If we have more than 4 people who receive 4 votes, we'll come back in a call meeting and look at it again to see if we can bring it down to 4. 4 is kind of an optimal number, or maybe a maximum number. If you only get 2 votes, then of course there will not be an interview there. As you go through the applications, the written applications, please keep in mind the brochure that was put out by GSBA of the things that we're looking for. And to refresh your memory, strong fiscal budget manager. Budget manager is a key part of this job. An effective communicator. We've seen both of those things tonight when Dr. Goskey presented during the work session and also here during this meeting and others. Proven leadership skills. Generator of support. An instructional leader. A good listener. I've got a 6, it's not bad. Look at these items as we go through and rate each candidate against those criteria. As someone reminded me earlier this week when I talked to someone in Nashville, talked to them about the fiscal part of it, the budget manager, they said you can always hire a good budget manager, and we do have a good budget manager. But it's important that our leader also be able to know the budget, and the budget is so crucial. But keep those things in mind as you go through these applications and what are their experiences. Also keep in mind as you go through the applications that if you take notes, that can be part of a FOIA, so be careful of notes that you take in case someone asks for those later. Make as many mental notes as you can as you go through. And then, once we turn those in to Mr. Hull, we will be meeting in a regular session on November the 3rd. This is Thursday night. That's our next school board meeting. Mr. Hull will present those 4 candidates to us, 4 or less. And then from there, we will establish interviews, hopefully before December 1st. That's what we decided on. I don't think we have a set date on that yet. So look at your calendars and see if you can do it shortly thereafter. Any questions on the process? I'm a firm believer that we have a process, that we follow it, and then if we have questions, we can follow up on that also. Tammy Grissom at TSBA said she will entertain any questions that we may have. If you need to ask her anything procedure-wise. Mr. Hull, is there anything that you can add to the process that we have done?
I don't think so. I think it worked well before, and so I don't think anything to add.
Our goal is to have someone named early December, and that person won't necessarily be on duty early December, but we do want to have someone who can start working unofficially in some form or fashion with Mr. Rapkowski to work on the budget for next year, because it is crucial, and even if it's long distance. And we have people from Florida and California who apply for this position. So it's not just local. We have people from New Mexico who apply for the position. And we have several local people who apply for the position. Mr. Rapkowski, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Chairman Jones. One thing that I did want to follow up on that I failed to say earlier, as we discussed the Sullivan Heights pool, we currently do not have cost estimates for that repair. We were supposed to have some divers there today, but that didn't happen, and Mr. Hubbard and I discussed that as late this afternoon as 3:30, 4 o'clock, and we still didn't have. So hopefully we will have those here before the end of the week, but we're still waiting on that. So just so you know, we don't have a cost estimate at this time. Moving on to new business, the next item on the agenda, item 7A, is the United Way Sports Pass. This is something that our school district has traditionally supported for many, many years. This is sponsored by Eastman, and it provides those Eastman employees an opportunity to get a sports pass in our school district via a donation to United Way. At this time, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation for approval of the United Way Sports Pass. Mr. Spivey makes the motion, have a second. Dr. Rouse seconds. Mr. Thompson thirds on that one. Any questions? Roll call, Ms. King.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Dr. Rouse?
Yes.
Mr. Spivey?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Iverson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Item 7B on our agenda is support staff. And at this time, I am making a recommendation to our Board of Education that we give our support staff a bonus. This bonus would be $1,000 for our full-time support staff and $500 for our part-time support staff. I discussed this during our work session, and I do want to say a few more words about the reasoning behind this. Is we have had for several years, we have had a desire to do more for our staff. Last year, I think we made a huge step in the right direction for our professional staff. We initiated the teacher salary equalization scale, and I think that is working well. We have been able to put some other things in place for our coaches, our athletic coaches, and as we await our final look at what's coming with our next budget year, moving away from the BEP way of allocating a budget and estimating a budget to TISA, I personally still have lots of unanswered questions as far as how to project and where we will be with our next budget process. It will be my hope to look at the structure of those salary schedules for our hourly employees, but until then, and due to us not making that adjustment in our current budget, I am requesting that this board do a bonus for that group of employees. And that bonus and that recommendation would be as follows. Any support staff employee that was employed on May 26, 2022, and is currently employed would receive a bonus at the following rate of $1,000 for a full-time employee and $500 for a part-time employee. At this time, I make that recommendation to this board.
You've heard the recommendation from Ms. Ralphowski to give a $1,000 bonus to full-time employees who were employed by May the 26th, 2022, and who are still currently employed as of today, and a $500 bonus for those who were employed on May 26th and are still currently employed with us part-time. By support staff, we mean those hourly employees who are paid through Sullivan County checks. Just clarify that for anybody who might be working in some other capacity. So I entertain that motion. Mr. Robinson makes the motion. Second, Mr. Spivey. Any discussion? If you all recall, last year we were putting the budget together, one of Mr. Ralphowski's comments was that if at all possible, when we get our money's in this year, if money is available, we'll take a look to see what we can do. And this is a way of doing what she said we're trying to do.
Just like to make one comment. This past year, we were working on the budget, and the support staff was our main focus. And we made some significant progress with a lot of our support staff. And there was some support staff that didn't get the 5% pay raise, and this will make up for that. So I thank Mr. Rafalowski for putting this together. It's a problem that we created unintentionally, but we're fixing, so thank you very much.
And we were able to give some of our support staff credit for years they had worked, that in past years, they had not moved up on the steps. They had been at step one since the day they were hired 10 years ago, and that problem was corrected. And, but with the shortfall of money this year, some people did fall through the cracks, and this will help alleviate a little bit of the problem. Any other discussion? Roll call, Ms. Jean.
Dr. Rouse?
Yes.
Mr. Spivey?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Iverson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones, that concludes the office report. And I know that causes you all agree with what just happened with the board. And I certainly, I look forward to our support staff. They're equally as important when we talk about the success of our school district. Our students show up in the mornings to a clean building. They get delicious meals. I was at Ketron this morning. I'm sorry, but I'm going to bore you all just a little bit. I was at Ketron this morning, and Amber, I haven't tasted our new French toast. But the children at Ketron assured me that it was as good as any French toast they'd ever had. One little one, a kindergartner in particular, I had to work with him a little bit on chewing and then taking another bite before, before he kept taking more bites. So certainly they were enjoying the French toast. But I say those things because we have lots of people in our school district working behind the scenes, keeping HVAC going, keeping meals on the table. And when something happens, that the power goes out at Indian Springs during lunch, what does our cafeteria staff do? They find a way to serve them lunch, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or whatever we can. They're all the time working hard. And had the opportunity to spend some time in the cafeteria at Rock Springs earlier this year. And lunch is over, and I go back in the kitchen to see what I can do to help. Well, they're finished. It's like tornadoes in there. And they don't quit, and I don't know how they get it all done the way that they get it done. They're efficient. Our cafeterias score 100s on their inspections, day in and day out. We have aides that work one-on-one in small groups, working with our children, making sure that we're accomplishing things that we need to accomplish with them. And I have to say, this morning at Ketron for about an hour, I don't know that the secretaries could even stop to take a breath. But there were 4 children in the office, and with everything going on, their top priority was to make sure those 4 children got breakfast. And that's the staff that we have in our school district. They're going to make sure our kids are taken care of and taken very good care of. So thank you all for applauding that, because I think everybody in this room realizes how important they are to the everyday workings of this school district. So thank you. Mr. Jones?
comments on non-agenda items. I didn't see anyone sign up for any public comment on a non-agenda item. I will ask if there's anybody from the audience. Mr. Steffy.
Let's say
I am Manuel Steffy, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. Could I go back and address the Sullivan Gardens property for one item?
You do what?
The Sullivan Gardens property, I've got a
Yes.
a concern I'd like to address, if that's okay.
Okay.
The last time I toured the building, there was about 3 or 4 inches of water in the basement, and I did a pretty good investigation. There's about a 30 to 40 foot section of guttering on the lower side, totally rusted out. All the water from the top of the gym, second story of the building is going down around the foundation, seeping through the cracks in the concrete back up. You guys are using it for storage. We see winter coming on quickly, and the water itself's gonna do damage, but once it freezes, it's gonna be even worse. So I just want to bring it to your attention, ask you to consider checking that out.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, and Mr.
Thank you,
Hubbard's
Bill.
gonna be taking a note back around back to check on that, right, Mr. Hubbard? Any others? Next, my comments, and I apologize for several. Each year we appoint committees, and I ask each board member to let me know if you wanted to change the committee or if you wanted any type of change at all. I heard just a couple, but I'll give this list to Ms. King later, but athletics, Mr. Robinson. Ethics, Mr. Spivey, Mr. Hughes. I've got facilities, policy, Mr. Price, new man on the block. Sick leave, Mr. Hughes. Calendar, even though it doesn't meet very often and it's gone, Mr. Spider's still on that one. Curriculum and textbook, Dr. Rouse. Collaborative conferencing, Mark. And I failed to elect a TLN representative last month. I think board policy requires that we do an election. In the past, you served a couple of years. I'll open the floor for nominations because I do want to make it part of the minutes that we elected TLN rep. Floor is open for nominations.
Gladly give it up if anybody wants it.
I nominate Mr. Iverson.
Mr. Hughes nominates Mr. Iverson. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Price.
I'll take that as a no.
Any discussion? If not, roll call on that, Ms. King.
Mr. Spivey,
yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Iverson,
Abstain.
Mr. Jones.
Yes. You can do double duty on that one. That's Tennessee Legislative Network, so when you're in Nashville, you can save us some money and charge it off to the county. If you have to travel down there, you get reimbursed.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Rouse.
Yes.
We have an upcoming meeting in November the 10th through the 13th, ESBA meeting. All school board members are registered, and Ms. King has asked me to verify. If you're not going, please let her know so we can cancel reservations. Otherwise, we've got 7 slots reserved. We're getting nods on this side. Mr. Robinson, are you on for that one?
Right now, yes.
If you have to change, you will let her know, right? And there's also a pre-convention legal conference on that Friday. I'm signed up for it. Mike's signed up for it. Is it? Okay. That's usually pretty good when Chris McCarty is doing that one, so. Our next meeting date we set is November the 3rd. We have to do a board evaluation, and this is by state law, unfortunately. We would take one of these, complete your evaluation and give it back to Mr. Hull by noon on November the 2nd.
Same date, same time.
Yeah, I can only remember one day at a time,
One
so.
more.
You need one more?
I don't know if I can handle all that.
It's just all math. This is not a good form to use, but it's what's provided. It basically says, where are you now on this sheet as far as how you rate yourself, how I am, and how do I wish to be. So if you would get that to Mr. Hull, he will file that, and we'll have a call board meeting at 6:15 on November the 3rd. The law says it's got to be a board meeting with no other items on the agenda. We've already got a regular meeting on 6:30. So we'll meet at 6:15 in a call meeting with one item on the agenda to review the numbers, and then we'll go into regular session at 6:30. Everybody with me on that? That complies with the law.
I will say on the other thing, that seems simple enough, but I would appreciate your getting these on in there, because we'll have to be ready the next day, and it's a fairly complicated bunch of stuff to compile, so. Historically, those haven't all come in right exactly on time.
You're saying you've had to call some of us in province, right?
Sorry.
Okay, try to get those to him a couple of days ahead of time if you can. That would be the absolute deadline, I would think. But we'll do that at 6:15 and try to make it as simple as we can. Mayor Venable mentioned at the last meeting that he was forming an ad hoc committee to take a look at the financial management committee. I think that's what he called it. Anybody remember? I heard the number 3 members mentioned, but I'm not sure if that's what it is or not. But I'm looking forward to a review of that financial management, that committee, and hopefully they will seek our input also on that. Maybe a couple of us on the committee. I don't know the makeup of the committee, but that was mentioned. Mr. Rapkowski and I attended the financial management committee meeting last Friday, and of course Mr. Vanover was on that committee also. His first meeting there, and we're still in the learning stages and still in the working stages and trying to get over some bumps on that. But hopefully the changes that Mr. Rapkowski mentioned tonight during the work session will help us to resolve some of those issues. With that, I'll go to board member comments. Mr. Iverson.
I just want to say this has actually been a great night. We had a lot of good things happen, even the work session with Chris Davis and Michelle Ramey coming and telling us where our projects were. Great financial results from Ms. Deloach and her entire crew. And I just want to say thank you to all those bookkeepers out there that are the unsung heroes. Nobody ever talks about them until it's bad, but they did great. It's fantastic, and I really appreciate all the work. Lakewood Christian Academy, congratulations. Glad you guys were able to work that out. Our reward schools, didn't know if anybody noticed, but all of the elementary schools in my zone were reward schools, just like, had nothing to do with me, fantastic for all of them, but thank you guys very much for all the hard work, really appreciate it. Doing the right thing with the support staff, I'm really proud of that. We did some good work on it, so. I'm sure I've missed a ton of things, but I'm really happy, we did good.
Russ.
I'd just like to say thank you to the principals for this being Principal Recognition Month. Until you have walked in those shoes and done that job, no one has any idea the stress that you go through day in and day out. The times that you cry by yourself or say other things to yourself. But thank you so much for the job that you do every day, not just this month, but every day. Congratulations to our reward schools. And I was just blown away by our bookkeepers. Again, as Mr. Jones said earlier, being a principal in a school and going through an audit I mean, they come in with the intent, which is their job that they're getting paid to do, but they come in with the intent, they have to find something, and they do. So, congratulations, Ingrid, and to your team. Awesome.
Mr. Hughes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got a couple things I'd like to mention. First of all, I'm really happy we were able to do something for the support staff. But if you're a support staff person out there, know this, that this is just something until we can do something more. We would like to do for you what we were, something comparable to what we were able to do for everyone else. And as soon as that's possible in the budget, I'm sure everyone here would agree that's something we want to do. Next, I'd like to thank Mr. Hubbard and the Highway Department, Mr. Murray, for some work they did that I'll update the board on. At Bluff City, as you know, that parking lot had a huge deficit. And they put, I think Mr. Hubbard said 35 tons in that hole. They just fixed the hole for now with binder. We're going to go back and pave it maybe in a couple weeks, but really looked nice and made it a lot safer. So thank you guys very much. Additionally, I'd like to remind you that, you know, we do get a lot of calls about mistakes for paychecks. Sometimes people don't even get paychecks. So that if you get a chance, bring that up. I'd also like to remind everyone here that we paid $379,000 for our park that was billed to us from that committee, and I asked for a detail 3 months ago. And and did I miss it, or has it been supplied?
No, sir.
I'd still like to have that deep. I'd like to know what we paid for. So I'd appreciate if somebody would get in the ear. And Mr. Chairman, that's all I have. Thank you very much.
First off, I'd like to congratulate our reward schools. That's big there. I want to say it was Miller Perry that said 4 years in a row. Right. That's really huge. Good luck to our Westridge volleyball team. Today I heard wasn't the greatest, but we've already done. We're pulling for them tomorrow, and safe travels back home. Also, big thank you to our principals. They do a lot. I mean, it's like I've never been a principal, but you can talk to these up here, and I can walk into a school, and the principal's usually the one that's running around everywhere. They never stop. I've seen it at Catcher, and I've seen it at Westridge and multiple schools. So big congrats to them and thank them. And I believe that's about all I got.
I'll be brief. I would echo those same comments and thank all our teachers. Also want to thank the students and parents that came and commented here. I know a lot of times you all may think we're not listening, but I can assure you everybody up here is, or we would be up here. We don't do this for some kind of notoriety. We do it because we care. And so thank you all, and thank everybody that comes out.
Mr. Price.
Always the last.
I'll remember that next time.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I echo what everybody says. Congratulations to all the reward schools and the principals for the job you do. But I just want to take a second, and I want to talk about the outpouring of support that I saw from this community during the tragic loss of the Westridge student. You know, it's tough. It's tough to lose a child. I can't imagine. She was actually in the band with my daughter, and I saw things not only at Westridge and Holston, but within the whole community. You know, the community itself just loving on this family, and I pray that you all will continue to remember this family in your prayers, and not just the family, but the student body at Westridge and Holston and her friends, because it's tough. It's tough. But this community really came together during this tragic time, and that's what we should do. That's what it's about.
We'd like to thank everyone for coming and being here, and we make every effort to listen and make notes and try to make good decisions. Tonight has been a good night. We're looking forward to many more, but I would invite you to come back. There's going to be lots of exciting things happening in the next few months. There's some tough times coming in the next few months when the traders leaving here on my left, making it harder on us. We will endure. But we are going to miss what she's provided for the board and for the community. But it's time that we try to move forward with looking for not her replacement, for someone to come in and continue with what she has started. And if you don't see what she started, all you got to do is go through and look at some of the things that's happened in the last 6 years. We've been doing this together. And the questions that we'll be asking our prospective board members, we haven't put those together. They're not canned questions, I can assure you of that. Unless you all bought some that I don't know about, so tell me, but we will be interviewing each candidate and trying to find the best fit. And that's what it's all about, is finding the fit for our community. Our community is not the same as Florida, California, or anywhere else. That doesn't mean they can't fit here, but we're gonna find someone that can do the job for us and that will fit in. So if you have comments about what you want to see in the next superintendent, the next director of schools, feel free to share those with me or any other board member. And we will try to ask questions that will get us the answer to what you're looking for. We kind of know what we're looking for, but at least I do. And I just hope that person exists that will fit into what we need. And it will take a lot of prayer, Matthew, to get us through that too. And not just thoughts. But we need to move forward with where we're going. And I guess it's time to say, meeting is over.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.